A true friend isn't someone who tells you what you want to hear. Instead, they will tell you what they know you need to hear, even at the risk of making you angry. How many of you out there have had to do this? Had to confront a friend and said, hey, I got to tell you, you're going down the wrong road. You need to kind of veer over back to the right way here. How many have ever had a friend do that to them? You see, you appreciate somebody like that. Initially, you're annoyed, but you really appreciate having somebody like that in your life. I try to adhere to that standard at this channel. Whether it's going to make people mad or not, I'm going to tell them the truth. And there's a lot of folks out there right now being very much deceived. And we're going to talk about this again today. I have some more information that I think you're going to want to see about this guy who's put out this song. Now, some have said, well, it's just a song. Why do you care so much about it? Because it's incredibly deceptive in its message. And it's fooling a lot of people. Now, real quick, just want to always be diligent and show gratitude and say thank you to those of you who have showed up over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. $1 per month. That's it. Lowest allowable level, fully refundable. First 90 days, no questions asked. There's a $5 level for those of you who could really use your support, but there are many others who could as well. Especially Patriot Nurse, Jennifer Veterans for Truth, Lynn Liaz. There's a lot of folks out there who have really been unfairly treated in the last few years, and they really don't speak about it that much. They sure don't write songs about it. But we could all use your assistance because it's really getting very rough here on YouTube. Now, well, for some of us, I suppose when you sing certain songs, it isn't all that rough. Last two, known in existence, Florida Maquis coffee mugs. We're going to be drawing two names out of a hat. 22nd of August, that'll be our 12-year anniversary. Now, I've really only been making videos talking about the truth, talking about politics, talking about all sorts of things since about 2016. But for 5 years before that, I, believe it or not, had a guitar and wrote songs and put them on YouTube just like Mr. Anthony did and does. But there's a fundamental difference. And it's not about the success level. It's about how this all went down. Now, how many of you know that Mr. Anthony has his own YouTube channel? All of the views, almost virtually all of the views of this song, this Rich Men North of Richmond, aren't on his channel. They're on a channel called WV, what is it? Radio WV. Now you'd have to ask yourself a question. Wait a minute, hold on. You put your stuff out there, Maquis, and nobody else. But why is it not on his channel? That's a real good question. When you go to his channel, recently he put up a little video, 9 minutes and 27-second long video, talking about what this is all about, where it all came from, and you get some really good information from the guy. How many of you know he's middle of the road? Spent most of his life as an agnostic. That doesn't surprise me in the least. Now, it seems like, based on the description of what he says here, title of the video, it's a pleasure to meet you, that he had this good intention, but deep down, there's some issues. There are some major issues that don't jive with the song. Now, if he gets a whole bunch of success on this, and apparently on iTunes or Spotify or wherever it is, it's going crazy, I suppose, for his singing ability and his ability to play guitar. But one of the lines in the song I thought was very interesting. If you're 5'3" and weigh 300 pounds, tax money ought not go to your bag of fudge rounds. So what's he really saying? Well, you see, here's an example of a woman who's 5'3" and 300 pounds, self-described, right here in this picture. You see, if this person were to find herself down on her luck or behind the 8 ball or lose her job because, recession or whatever, apparently she's not worthy of any government help. And she wouldn't be allowed to have any food other than salads. And that should be something the government should police. Everybody should police that. I mean, the only thing that somebody who's overweight should be allowed to eat if they have any government assistance, salads. Is that what we're saying here? But it's perfectly okay if she's a drug addict, alcoholic, coke sniffer, because that's worthy of forgiveness. Nope, not this. Anybody out there know anyone who looks like this? 5'3", 300 pounds. This is perfectly fine. Florida Monkey, why do you say perfectly fine? Well, you see, this is the thing. There's a song that he wrote called Cocaine and Cobwebs, and another one about how, he ain't got a dollar, but he's got enough money to go get stoned. They can just sit there and drink their homemade wine and light up the bowl, as he says. So he's perfectly okay with drug addicts. Perfectly okay with being drug addicted, being an alcoholic. You're worthy of forgiveness then, but not if you're not if you're overweight. See, he talks about suicide as well, and how horrible it is. I don't think that he quite gets that some people just do it slowly, and that's what this is. People get stuck in positions with jobs where they've got to work long hours, and sometimes the only solace they have is food. And then they gain a bunch of weight. But of course, if people gain a bunch of weight and then they would eventually lose their job, then it's the government's job to step in and make sure that they don't eat anything but salads. I mean, heaven help they have an overweight person have a cookie. Because that's what he's saying. If you have any kind of government assistance, anything where the government has even given you any kind of a tax break whatsoever, then you're not entitled to forgiveness. But if you're a coke-sniffing, alcoholic, weed smoker, then you are worthy of a second chance. Now, going to make a little bit of a right turn here. There's been a lot of talk about this UBI thing, Universal Basic Income. And a lot of conservatives are like, oh, that's just a government trap. That's a government trap, really? Let me ask you a question. What if it got somebody off of one of these sites? Huge site where normal women mostly go and do certain things in exchange for $1 or $2 or $5 a month. And the vast majority, 98%, make somewhere between $300 and $500 a month if they're lucky. See, there's a story going on about this new central bank digital currency they're trying to roll out, world currency, where they're going to throw people $2,000 a month. Clayton Morris was talking about it. So ask yourself the question, if you gave somebody $2,000 a month and it meant that they said, you know what? I'm done. I'm not working at Hooters anymore. I'm not working at any of these places that take advantage of me anymore. I'm closing down my OnlyFans page. That $2,000 a month is going to be the difference for me. I'm going to be able to do something else now. See, there's this myth out there that the places like, the OnlyFans, it was their dream job. They were just sitting for their dream job to show up, and then there was OnlyFans. There were people that were desperate and had no other choice, and to feed their kids and to stay in their homes and to keep the lights on, they've had to do things they never dreamed of. So when I hear people bitch and cry and piss and moan and whine about the government that are living on 90 acres, not 40, 90 acres, I kind of get a little bit, bent out of shape. It's not something you should be doing. Because there are people that are doing things that are a hell of a lot worse than you, who aren't wallowing in a little pity party full of coke and weed and alcohol, like you admit you did, that you could afford to do. I'd like to ask him that question too. See, he talks about when he was working third shift in a factory in North Carolina, then moves to Virginia, and then how he was drinking it up and coking it up and all this kind of stuff. How was he keeping a job doing that? Apparently where he worked didn't drug test. A lot of places you couldn't do that. You'd be gone yesterday. See, here's a song that he's got here. Ain't got a dollar, don't need a dime, got a little spot in the country where I spend all my time. Sun goes down, this itty bitty town, we can light up a bowl and pass it around, because I ain't got a dollar. Rank be pouring, the crops grow in the ground, we can pick some muscadine right off the vines, yeast, make some wine. Really? Really, is that the answer? That's the answer, huh? Here's his page if you want to check it out. Oliver Anthony Music. Go look back. Go look back. And see if you can answer yourself some questions. Oh, did I mention that he has a boat, too? See, this is his rough, horrible, government-infringed life. Here he is. He's got his beautiful forest and his tractor that he's got to go mow paths on his 90-acre ranch. You know, to keep it open. It must be a horrible life having to, sleep out in the country like that. Go traipsing all over your private ranch that's got the flowing creek on it, where you can raise your own livestock. What a horrible life. How dare the government do this to him? Oh, and I misspoke. Pardon me. Yesterday, I showed a picture of something that was a couple $1,000s. Somebody corrected me. You see, I'm not well schooled in toys like this that are tens of thousands of dollars. Apparently what I showed was a conversion kit that you can get for one of these Razor 900Ss. That's a couple $1,000s. The actual Razor 900S itself is more like $25,000. I wonder how much the boat was. Looks like a beautiful pontoon, couple of seats up front. Electronic trolling motor, just chilling, going down the river. See, this is the guy. This is the guy that is singing about, oh, poor little me in the government. I'm working for bullshit wages and it's terrible and it shouldn't be this way. Really? Really? You see, it would be hypocritical for me to go out and, talk to people and go out and say, you know what, I'm going to start doing videos about getting in shape, because my rear end is parked in front of a computer 10 to 12 hours a day, and I don't look like this. That's why I said, you know what? Here's a guy here, 60-something years old. We could all use some inspiration. We could all use some extra exercise. And this guy's been on my channel, has been supporting my channel for a long time. And I checked him out on Instagram, and I'm like, this guy would be a great person to go follow. Go do what this guy says. Because at 63, he looks like this. It would be hypocritical. Oh, here's the ATV. RZR Trail S. Let's see what else here. Oh, I did a video long ago talking about this. This picture on the right here. This was me back before YouTube censorship. Back when I didn't have to spend all day doing videos. Yeah, had plenty of time to go out and run and stay in shape and eat right and take care and do all that kind of stuff. But now, no chance of that. You got to do a video every single day here. I got to do videos for Patreon. I've got to do videos for the backup channel. And look, it's my choice. It's absolutely my choice. It is what it is. And I'm trying to keep my head above water. But, it's quite a bit different. I'm not actually singing songs about how bad the government's treated me and trying to make people believe that I'm some kind of a victim. And I guess that's my issue, because I know people who are victims. I know people. I've lost 3 or 4 family members to suicide. One was, he had been eating himself to death for years. He was 400 pounds when he died. Another one that just never really, too young. I'm not going to go into all the details, but believe me, I know what this guy's talking about. But none of them had their own boat. None of them had their own private ranch. None of them had, oh yeah, nobody asked the question. And he answers it, by the way. This Radio WV provided all the professional camera work and all of the professional recording equipment for this. Why? You see, this is my question. It's a good song. I get it. It's a good song. But coming from somebody that might have actually suffered a little bit, maybe might have been a better choice. This guy's saying he's suffering. Well, there's a lot of us out there that couldn't afford to go wallow in a pity party of cocaine and drugs and alcohol. That as the result of our being oppressed by the government, that we've been forced to humiliate ourselves to live on a 90-acre ranch with a flowing stream and have a boat and have a tractor and have an ATV and dogs. It just doesn't ring right with me to hear somebody at that level. How many saw the video of Mike Pence not being able to pump gas? It's just, when you hear people that just don't have any standing to talk about stuff like this, and I've told folks, at the Patreon channel, I said, look, if you're in financial straits right now, keep your money. Keep your money. Absolutely. $1 a month to offset the massive censorship on YouTube. It's a question I'd like to ask him. I said, when he talked about all this unfairness going on, how many days did he show up for work where they said, you know what, today we're only going to pay you half? That's what's happened to the Patriot Nurse. That's what's happened to Lindley Oz. That's what's happened to many other channels. And then 6 months later, we're going to say, we're only going to pay you half again of what you were making. See, I have the sneaking suspicion that this guy is one of those union Democrats. These mansion types that believe that they're owed more money from business than they really are government. And that it's, he's kind of been weaseled and squirreled around to blame everyone in Washington, D.C. Believe me, I'm no fan of D.C. I'm no fan of them at all. I live in Florida. I live in fuck around and find out land for a reason. But there's no excuses down here. You either sink or swim. If you could say there's one negative thing about Florida, I would agree. It is the sink or swim state. That's it. Those are your two choices. You're not entitled to anything. You don't complain. You just suck it up and do what you can do. And that's, I guess, the issue here. Is that this guy's got an incredible amount of blessing in his life. And he's singing, and for those of you who say he's singing on behalf of others, he's singing it in the first person. And in the video, he's also going after people he believes aren't worthy of any type of help whatsoever. Someone like this. This is what 5'3", 300 pounds looks like. You're saying you agree with a song that says that this person needs to have their grocery shopping policed by the government if they receive any assistance whatsoever. Seriously, that's what the song says. What ought to be and what ought that and ought not, and brother, I can tell you this about what ought not be. People who live in glass houses ought not throw stones. Because when it comes down to maybe having an eating problem or a drug and alcohol problem or a hypocrisy problem, just saying, maybe look in the mirror before you start whining. And maybe look up the next time you pray. And maybe you're going to start to talk about God. Maybe read the Bible and how you're supposed to praise God in the suffering. The God on the mountain is the same God in the valley. That means those around you who are suffering, you don't know what they're going through. You have no idea what they're going through. If somebody's 5'3", 300 pounds, you have no idea what they're going through. How dare you? How dare you say that person is somehow less worthy than someone else? Which is what his song is saying. You talk about people, milk and welfare. What the hell do you know about it? What the hell do you know about anybody else's situation? And who are you to talk about it? Seriously, I mean, that's basic Christian 101. Work out thine own salvation with fear and trembling. And the reason I'm here right now talking about this, because there's millions and millions and millions of people out there that are rallying around a song that is about as anti-Christian as I've ever heard in my life. You want to talk about a Christian song? Take up thy cross and follow me. Wherever he leads, I'll go. Or the one I recommended yesterday from Paul Overstreet. Richest man on earth. So, I will leave it there. God bless. Pray for each other, lift each other up, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.